If you search True to Say Acknowledge on Steam right now, you will see the Steam page for my dating sim. It took me about a year to make, and in this video I will tell you how I made it in detail, from idea to finished product, and how I would use what I learned to make my next game. The process was quite a journey for me. Part 1, the grand design. You see, years ago I was bored during COVID quarantine and I started watching YouTube videos about how to make games, and then I made my first game called Carrot, inspired by a quite well-known indie game called Frog Detective, and then I make another game, a sequel to Carrot, then I make another one, then another, then another. By the time I'm thinking of making my 6th game, I thought, well, dating sim, everyone know what it is. I can draw and write stories. I also plan for the game to act as a beginning of a game series. I plan to write the foundation code once and keep reusing and enhancing the same code base, like Nancy Drew games, where it's all the same except the settings change with every new installment. After I know I'm gonna make a dating sim, I came up with a core cast of characters. After I have the core cast, I thought I would play it safe and set the story in high school. The world in the universe of my story is a vague, timeless world. Bonnets can be worn by the characters, and that same characters can have smartphones and drink from can of soda. And magical realism runs in the veins of all my stories. I use the game engine Godot, and I write the code, draw the art, write the story, compose music, make all the sound effects myself. My idea is to have a game with so many endings and branching story paths, so I thought, okay, let's do 32 endings, 8 endings for each character. Part 2, making the actual game. When I started out, I came up with this cool idea to have the player make choices by picking one of the 6 emotions to react to lines of dialogue in the story. I thought it was so cool, cooler than it actually is. See, I thought players should react to every lines of dialogue and get score according to how pleased the character you're talking to are with your answers. And then at the end of the episode, the game would use the cumulative score to branch out the story. Problem with that is just when I attach numbers to the choices, indirectly I created the win and lose states. Meaning when the story is branching, I need to branch it in a way that is clear that this is a good path and this is a bad path. Not to mention, in practice, no matter how much story branches, there will be a single true ending, which is boring. So I have no choice but give up and keep only the idea of using face emojis. You see, the face emojis things was inspired from how sometimes when you play visual novels, the choices are something you wouldn't want to necessarily say or do. Sometimes when you're given choices like save character A or B and there's no choice to save both or sacrifice yourself, this can feel incomplete. But with the face emojis, because there will be this exact same set of choices always, you won't feel incomplete or feel like it's unfair. At least I hope you wouldn't. Also, choice making in visual novel can be so annoying sometimes. Sometimes you know where you want the story to go, but it's unclear from the choices what you need to pick, and when you pick the wrong ones, you need to load the save and play again from that point. It can be considered a challenge, I guess, but it clearly can also be considered annoying. So in this game, I separate the stories into small episodes and I put all of them in a flowchart, making it possible for players to even bypass the choice making process altogether. The episodes are also very short, making it so that you don't actually need to save because you can access any part of the story through the flowchart. Part 3, the art. The art style for this game is basically my art style. I want a colorful world, colorful cast of characters, and colorful settings, which can be problematic, especially when you make a dating sim. Like how, if we are being honest here, none of my characters look hot. Actually, in this game, there's no sexual content at all, and a lot of what dating sims sell is sexual content. It's just a creative decision I made. We will see if it would be good for me or bad for me. Part 3.1, the character design of the protagonist. For the main character, I named the character Tale. Tale is designed to let everyone knows the mood and tone of the game with a single glance. The 3 stars that nobody knows why they are there, the small wings, which are pink, and the orange hair. The entire design will make the player immediately understand that this game is fluffy and soft and warm and full of magical realism. And I love how unrelatable Tale as a character is. I'm sure not many people imagine themselves like this. Creating a character that is weird enough for nobody to easily dictate what's in or out of character, but at the same time strange enough for people to abstractly insert themselves into the character without much problem, and whimsical enough to be interesting. Tale is also a customizable character, not customizable in a sense that you can create yourself in place of Tale, but customizable in the same way Hello Kitty is customizable, still recognizable, but can communicate different vibes. I also plan for Tale to exist in the similar manner to Barbie and exist metaphysically within the same character persona, but also exist separately in each of the story in the game franchise. So in the future, I can have a game where the setting is like the mermaid world, the fairy world, a gothic horror one, office romance theme one, a farming sim inspired theme one. This is also why I don't use English name for Tale. I know there are names like Blake, Taylor, and Hunter, but having unisex name is not what I want. I want a name that sounds alien to the English speaking ear. So I use the word Tale, a Thai word meaning the sea. Part 3.2, the character design of the romanceable characters. The romanceable characters are not designed like Tale. They will have their own unique qualities. First character, Kid, a shy childhood best friend. Mai, another best friend character. He's nonchalant, the opposite of Kid. August, a celebrity whose personality is playful and confident. And lastly, Courtney, bookish and quiet. I try to express their vibe in a not too direct way. For example, Kid is a character who is good at sport, so his jacket has yellow triangles, energetic shapes, energetic color. August is a celebrity, his big wings and his hat to imply his celebrity status, being celebrated and on a socially higher position than you. Mai, he is always happy and cheerful, so I put flowers on his shirt, symbolic of something kind and friendly. Courtney is the only character who wears shirt with color. He is the most proper of them all, and the leaf patterns give off calm and soothing vibe reflecting his personality. These characters are, pretty basic and not too exciting since the game is slice of life. Part 3.3, the background art. The background art are designed based on places I think I could use in the story, like the park, the shopping district, the school, and because it's a high school romance, I made like the main hall of the school, the science class, the gymnasium, things like that. The overall vibe, it's just my own personal style, nothing special. However, I have intense love for nature, so there's a lot of floral and animal motif everywhere. They are separated into two layers so that I can use the code to manipulate the color, creating illusion of time. Part 3.4, the writing and the story. My goal for this project is to write a big branching story with no good and bad endings. I separated the story into small episodes, and each one contained about 20 to 60 lines of dialogue and narration. The reason I do this is because for a lot of people, when they heard visual novel, they are like, well, I don't want to spend hours reading. The text box is pretty small too. I basically aim for the story to have a bunch of short, snappy dialogue / narration so that hopefully every click will feel meaningful. Part 3.5, the user experience. The user experience, I want it to be simple and I want them to be a bit fun and not too Apple core. I want multiple colors. I want big, chunky, friendly looking boxes. Other than that, it's just basic visual novel interface. Except this one thing I intentionally do, which is Tale face will always be this neutral expression throughout the game. I know it's a choice that a lot of players will find problematic, but without any expressions, you get to fill in the blanks, making Tale have a face that can satisfy every imagination in the head of every players. I guess I will read the feedback to see if many people find it too distracting or not. Tale only emote when you pick a choice at the end of each episode. Part 3.6, the music. I made about 10 tracks for the game. Most of them are fun and playful. There is no need for a danger track or a melodramatic track. I did borrow some tracks from my previous games for variety because there are a lot of episodes and I don't want to repeat the songs too much. Part 4, the bumps on the road. So the game is pretty short overall. You can finish the game in an hour or two. But why did it take 10 months to make? I even stopped working on it for some months before returning to finish the game last month. The fact is, this is an indie solo game development project with zero budget, and I got discouraged by multiple things. Part 4.1, the success of Love in Deep Space. So there's this dating sim mobile game called Love in Deep Space. It's super successful and I play it and I understand why people like it. It's 3D and has semi my realistic art style. All the characters are intentionally designed to look very conventionally attractive, something that my art style didn't offer. And to be honest, even if I want to, I don't think I can do it well. Next is the content. Love in Deep Space has a lot of implied sexual content. They are not explicit, but heavily implied. If you look at the discussion around the game, you will find a lot of people swooning over these characters and the sexy story inside the game. All my characters, I did not intend for them to look hot, and I talk about love in a very abstract way. I talk about the feelings of being closer as individuals. I talk about miscommunications. I talk about the joy of being in love with someone. I never once mentioned something like the wild, aggressive passion of love. And since Love in Deep Space was basically a global sensation, I thought, well, maybe this is what many people feel. Maybe dating sim without sexual content is stupid. Part 4.2. The success of Date Everything. So Date Everything is this dating sim that is super successful. The concept kind of plays with this quirky idea of you being able to date things that aren't human in your own house. It sounds offensive, like it's making fun of a dating sim genre, but it's not. It's actually very sincere. It's just the marketing and the concept make it seem that way. And for my game, the story and the concept was very straightforward. It's a dating sim taking place in high school, and that's it. There's no high concept quirky premise. I actually kind of don't want to do that even, because I'm aware of the perception in the West about dating sims. See, me growing up playing dating sim is like playing board games, just an activity you do. Only when I can speak and read English, I found out that generally people who speak English kind of don't like the genre. One of the main reason I see is people think it's for lonely people, which is just untrue. A lot of people who have boyfriends, girlfriends, or married play these games. Again, it's just an activity. Another reason I usually see is, well, it's all about sex, which is untrue. There are sexy ones and there are non-sexy ones. These perspectives from the English-speaking world made me want to write a straightforward dating sim without quirkiness in its premise. And because Date Everything, a game with quirky concept, got hugely successful, I got severely discouraged. Again, like Love in Deep Space, I think I'm super stupid for believing in my ideas. Part 4.3. The project got too out of hand. See, at first I came up with this simple idea, a straightforward dating sim with branching story paths, and that's it. But a little part of me thought, well, who would want to play a game like this? So I started dreaming up other systems that I hope they will enhance my game for me, but all of them basically did not enhance the core idea, the core experience of my game at all. My game used to have this hunger bar. If you don't feed your character and let the bar run out, the game will block you from reading the story, which sounds cool but not in a visual novel. To have a mechanic that basically paralyzed your game feels very bad. I also had a fashion magazine system. I wanted to make it so that according to what you wear, the character will be more or less pleased with you. But to be practical and realistic, having the game judge you on your character customization choice can feel very annoying. There was even going to be like a separate mode where you get to do like a chatbot kind of thing with the characters, but it just feels like another game altogether. Part 4.4. Playtesting Doom Spiral. It may be because I was tired, but every time I playtested the game, I just felt so unpleasant. The branching path idea is cool, but the episodes are so short. Even if you get to make choices, I don't give players time to live with the impact of their choices at all and just move on to other things in the story. The choices are also all felt unmeaningful, and maybe because of the slice of life nature of the story, but the different branching paths all feel like stories that could take place at another day in the story, rather than choices you made are so impactful that you are on a different path in the story now. Part 4.5. The music. I was never classically trained in music. I personally think music has always been a great weakness of mine. I thought my songs all suck and nobody will like them, and all of them sounds annoying. Who will play my game with these music? Part 4.6. The writing. There has been many times in my life where my writing caused someone to feel super agitated. They think I'm messing with them. See, my writing is magical realism and quite playful. My sense of humor can be very deadpan sometimes. I grew up with Winnie the Pooh, Peter Rabbit, and and a series of unfortunate events, I did employ a lot of absurdity as playful, lighthearted humor in my stories. And from my own experience, sometimes people will have this strong antagonistic reaction toward my writing. I've seen them all myself. For some people, it just doesn't click in their head that I'm being very unserious with my storytelling. They think I'm trying to mess with them and disrespect them. If you watch my old videos, you will see me talking about Kid treasure hunting storyline, August scandal storyline, Mai with his trying to make the cafe successful storylines, Courtney and the Secret Society of Bookmakers storyline, which all got cut in order to respect the deadline, which is so personally depressing for me. And it's also very embarrassing because I did tease those storylines myself. Part 4.7, making peace with everything. However, in the end, I did find ways to make peace with all the frustration I had. I lowered the game price from what I thought gonna be 8 USD to just 5 USD. I right now can dream up a lot of ways to make the game better, but I can't keep working on it forever. At the end of the production, also have to make peace with the idea that my games will never be perfect or close to it. Also, I did make devlogs video in the past, and those include the content and the system I now cut from the game. At first, I even planned to have 8 romanceable characters, but in the end it was too unrealistic of a goal, which is super embarrassing, and I'm sure a lot of people will be mad. There is no CG in this game, which is kind of a staple in the dating sim genre, but because I had decided that I will respect my deadline, I just need to publish this imperfect game. I just make peace with the fact that the feedback are gonna talk about it, and I can't do anything about it, and it's all my fault, and I have to take it in. It's just limits simply exist, and not everything is possible. Part 5, what I learned and what I should improve. The game, I think, should definitely be longer. All the endings are not satisfying endings, and sometimes even feel like a beginning of another story. Like in episode 7-6, there's this conflict where August, the celebrity character, was asked by a movie producer to pass the midterm exam, or else they will not let August be in a movie. And that sounds like a beginning of a fun episode about helping August pass the test. But what happened is the story was abruptly ended. I should do better next time and let the story end where it is at the point where it should end. The cast of characters are basically just Tele friends, which can be boring because they have similar functions as one of the friends. I think I would try writing more diverse set of characters next time, or maybe they could be friends, but as a game they should be able to influence Tele to create more interesting story path. I feel like forcing the story to branch every 20 to 60 lines can be exciting, but also can be harmful to the story itself. I think next time I should let the story branch at the point that it is suitable, and I could make some episodes don't branch at all, or some episodes branch out like crazy. Gameplay mechanics second, story first. I think the theme of story should be better. When I try to tell people in real life what I'm working on, I stuck with just a dating sim in high school, and that's not super interesting to hear. There should be a more distinct and high concept theme next time. And all of this talk about next time leads to part 6, my next game. Basically, a big thing that helped me make peace with all the imperfections of my game is, well, I realized I could always make the next one. It's called True Universally Acknowledged, Sea Silk Heart, and the theme is Mermaid. This time, Tale will not be just a high schooler, but a dressmaker. The premise is Tale, who just recently transformed into a mer person, need to navigate the life under the sea and either find love or get into fashion battles, or use the art of dressmaking to save the oceans from a threat of mass destruction. With a set goal of starting a new life as a mer person, there would be a larger branching opportunity for the story. This time there are only 3 love interests because I want to prioritize deeper storylines. In the old game, there will be moments where you linger on one background for a long time to read the narration or the dialogue. So to make things not too boring, I created this insert shots for each background for visual variety. Now when a long narration happens, you can have these insert shots act like montage to keep things interesting. And since the game is about fashion, I decided to make the clothes of the characters changeable in the game, so they won't stuck in the same attire throughout the whole game. This is actually something I already coded into the old game, but I cut the system out to respect my deadline. I also lowered the fidelity of the art. This might look worse, but what I get in return is the speed of the production. In the old game, part of why it takes so long is each background takes at least 1 to 2 days days to paint, and it takes about a day to make 4 to 5 customization options. But with this new lower fidelity art style, it now takes 3 to 5 hours for a single background and 1 to 2 hours for 6 customization options. This will let the art asset in my next game to have more quantity and variety. I also cut the expression choices from 6 to 5. When thinking about it enough, happy and playful are too similar. Lastly, while I was testing the old game, I noticed that I like to sometimes click on an episode and quickly spamming continue to jump to the choice making section at the end. So I think in this game, I'm gonna add a button to make you able to skip to choice making section instantly. You should be able to wishlist the game now on Steam.